Hello my dear students, I am Hanumanti, working as a lecturer in Computer Science Department at Government Polytechnic, Karadi. As a part of LMS program, we are going to conduct a classes on database management systems. So already we discussed so many sessions in the previous sessions, and in these sessions we are going to discuss centralized and client server architectures for DBMS. See, before discussing the present session, we are going to summarize what we discussed in the previous sessions. We discussed DBMS system environment, DBMS components models. That means what do you mean by system environment? That is, it is a collection of components that regulates the group of data, data management and use of data which are stored in the database. And also we discussed this environment with a figure and what are the users and what are the components we are using in that environment. That means for DBMS components models, so many models we have discussed, like stored data manager, DDL compiler, interactive query interface, pre-compilers, so and concurrency, control systems, runtime database process. These are all the models we discussed in the previous session. And in these sessions we are going to discuss centralized DBMS architecture, client server architecture for DBMS, classification of DBMS. Centralized DBMS architecture. Centralized DBMS combines everything into a single system, including DBMS software, hardware, application programs and user interface processing software. That means in these architectures we are going to combine all the things into a single systems. That single systems have DBMS software and hardware and application programs, and for processing we are going to use user interface processing software. And the user can connect through a remote terminal and all processing done at a centralized site. That means here we will have the clients for sending the request, and that request will be served at the server side and it will get back to the client. That means the user can connect to the server through terminals and all processing will be done at the server side or centralized site. See, you can observe here. See, here we are having the terminals. That means these are the clients. So by using those interface, by using those clients, the clients can send the request, and in this we are having all the components in a centralized architectures. Like we told, it can be hardware, software, and the application programs, terminal display controllers, text editors, and compilers, DBMS. So we are combining entire thing into a single systems. That is why we are calling it as this one centralized architecture. And basic client server architectures. See here we are having the clients and we are having only two, clients and servers. And the client will send the request to the servers, and that request will be served at the server side, and the server will respond to the client. And this that means server can be printer servers, file servers, DBMS servers. That means suppose I want to share a printer among 10 people, 100 people, so we can share it, so that any client can do the printout. And same thing, you can give access to all the clients for accessing the files. That means the client can access the files. Suppose sometimes he may need any files, that time he will read it and he will get it back from to the client. Similarly, we will have the DBMS servers. That means the client can connect to the DBMS servers. Here we are having only two concepts here, client and servers. By using the network communications, we can achieve these architectures. This we are calling it as logical two-tier architectures. Basic client server architecture. In this, the client machine provides the user with the appropriate interface to utilize these servers. Okay, in order to utilize the servers, the client will provide the interfaces, appropriate interface to the users. That means we are already we know that so many interfaces. So it may be a form based, it may be menu based, it may be GUI based. So we studied, we know some of the interfaces. The interface whatever is convenient by using the interface, they will connect to the servers and they will make use of servers. And server is a system containing both hardware and software that can provide services to the client machines such as file access, printing, archiving or database accesses. Examples for servers, it can be web servers or email servers. That means if you want to create any accounts, if you want to see your mails, that time you are going to connect email servers. You will have the terminals, you will have the interface, you will send the give the username and password, then it will submit it. Okay, then the request will be served at the server side, and after processing it will send it back to the client or the users. And two-tier client server architectures for DBMS. See here in this a standard called Open Database Connectivity (ODBC) provides an application programming interface. In order to connect with the client and servers, we will have a API. That API we are calling it as Open Database Connectivity. That means the client program can actually connect to several RDBMS and send query and transaction request using the ODBC API, which are then processed at the server side. And database connectivity standard for the Java programming language called JDBC has also been defined. This allows Java client program to access DBMS servers. Suppose if you are writing a program in the Java and if you are developing any applications by using Java, then in that programs you can by using that programs you can connect to the database servers. In that case, it requires JDBC. That means database connectivity standard for the Java programming language called JDBC has also been defined, which allows for the client programs to access DBMS servers. And whatever the architecture we discussed here are called two-tier architecture. See here, physical two-tier client server architectures. Here, see here, we are having the clients. So you are having the clients. Some of the clients will have, we don't have the storage, that is diskless client, or client can be have the storage space, that is client with disk and the servers. And these clients can communicate to the server, DBMS server, the file servers. Okay, this is how we are calling it as it is a two-tier client server architectures. Three-tier and n-tier architecture for web applications. See here, in the two-tier architectures, the client will send to the send request to the servers, and that will be processed at the server itself and give it back to the client. But what is the difference here? Three-tier means here, suppose so directly we are sending the request to the servers, but here we are not sending the request directly to the servers. Instead, we will have the another layers. That means these layers, these programs will get all the requests from the clients, and that will again they will send it to the database management systems. Here, see here, client is there, application server there. This server only for accepting the user request, and later it will send back to the database servers. Then the database after processing the request, it will send it back to the client by using this application programming web pages. So this is third layer, we can also call it as business logic layer. See here, in this architectures adds an intermediate layer between the client and server called application server or web servers. And intermediate server, what it does, it accepts the request from the client, processes the request, and sends the database commands to the database servers. Whatever the request sent by the client will be gets from the client. That means the intermediate layer accept the request from the client, and it will process the request and send DBMS commands to the database servers. And the main function of that intermediate servers or application server or web servers is it stores the constraints and procedures which are used to access the data. Okay. Now we will discuss classification of DBMS. So here how we are going to classify the DBMS. Okay. That means what are the criteria we are going to use for classifying the DBMS. See here, the following criteria are normally used to classify DBMS. So based on data model, it may be based on data model, it is data model based on number of sites, based on number of users, based on cost, based on purpose, for which purpose you are going to use. See here, based on the data model, DBMS is classified as follows, that is hierarchical data model, relational data model, object oriented model, object relational database management system model. See, based on number of sites, DBMS can be classified as either it may be centralized DBMS or distributed DBMS. Okay, in the centralized DBMS, it is when we say it is a centralized DBMS, a DBMS is centralized if the database and DBMS are stored at a single computer site. Then we will say this type of DBMS is centralized DBMS. That means where it is stored actually, DBMS and database where are stored, either they are stored in the single computers or whether they are stored in different computers. So based on that, the centralized DBMS, and centralized DBMS can support multiple users. Distributed DBMS. See here we are not storing the DBMS and the softwares, just we are distributing over the in different machines. That's what we are calling it as distributed DBMS. Based on number of users, that means how many number of users we are going to use, whether we are going to use a single users, whether that means I will have the system, I will have the storage. So this is also one of the database, suppose MS Access. That time we will say this is single user. So that means only one user can access the database. That is called single user system. That is, and if multi users, more than one persons are using the database, that type of we will call it as multi-user system database. And based on cost, we can also classify DBMS based on cost. That actually it depends on the cost. So it varies from $100 to $1 lakh. And that means depending on the requirement, we are going to classify. That means it depends on the cost. Suppose in a single organization how much they required. That means we have to think of cost also. So based on cost, we are having different classifications. And based on purpose, for which purpose you are going to use DBMS. Whether are you using it for a general purpose, it will be used for general purpose things. That time we will say this is general purpose DBMS. If it is a special purpose, means only for creating the accounts, for doing some dedication task, it will be done by the servers, other DBMS. That time we are going to use special DBMS. If we are using the DBMS for general purpose, that time we are calling it as general purpose DBMS. If it is if we are using for special purpose, that time we use special purpose DBMS. These are all the classification of DBMS based on how we are classifying the database. Okay, friends, we studied architectures, 2-tier architectures and 3-tier architectures with the figures, and also we studied data models. Okay, that means how we are going to classify the DBMS, and classification of DBMS also we studied. Now we will have a brief internal assessment. So just I will go through these questions and also you go through the questions so that you will get one idea. So, for example, first question: dash DBMS combines into a single system including DBMS software, hardware, and user interface. Can anybody answer? Yes, it is definitely a centralized DBMS architecture. That means in the centralized DBMS architectures, we are combining all the software, hardware, and user interface into a single systems. This first one is the answer. This has centralized DBMS architectures. See here, second question. DAS is a system containing both hardware and software that can provide services to the client machines. Okay, DAS is a system containing both hardware and software that can provide services to the client machines. You can guess whether it is a server, whether it is a client, whether it is a DBMS, whether it is none of the above. You just guess it. And ODBC provides what type of interface? Okay, just guess the answer, please. And the API in the two-tier architecture DBMS is provided by the dash connectivity, whether it is a closed model connectivity or it is open model connectivity, or it is a closed database or open database connectivity. The answer, if you can guess answer, it is obviously open database connectivity. Then in two-tier client server architectures, the running of the application programs and the user interface programs is in the control of what? Whether it is a modulation side, whether it is a client side, whether it is a server side, whether it is a host side. So you just go through the previous slides, you just try to get the answer for this. Okay? And which of the following is the example of object-based logical model? That means whether it is a ER model, hierarchical model, relational model, or network model. Okay, try to get the answer, students, please. And next, client server architecture cannot be properly tested because network load is highly variable. See here, the answer is for this is it is false actually. Okay, it is false. Answer is false. Database system which supports the majority of concurrent users is classified as dash systems. Whether it is multi-users, whether it is multi-functions, multi-transactions, all of them. Just the answers. Which of the following is a data models? Whether ER model, relational data model, object-based data model, or all of the above. Can you guess the answer, please? This obviously answer is all of the above. Which of the following is the oldest database models? A relational model, hierarchical, physical model, network. Which one is correct? Can you guess it? So this is the answer is for this is network is the oldest database models. Just you go through these references. Thank you very much for watching my videos and sessions. And in the further sessions, we will discover the remaining chapters which are coming in database and systems. Thank you very much.